Hey everyone, welcome to the Rider BMX channel. Today on the Rider channel we're going to be talking about handlebars. Now we're going to talk about a few different things to do with handlebars, but mostly what are they made of, what are the different heights, what are the different rises and the different bends on them, and the materials that handlebars are made out of most commonly. Now if you're a racer, commonly, guys who race use aluminum handlebars very often because of just the strength and the lightness. Most lower level BMX bikes that we buy are actually built with high tensile steel bars. They don't very often come with full chromoly handlebars. Maybe an intermediate level bike might, but it depends on the model and the make and the company. And how they build the bike. But generally what we're talking about here is higher level chromoly handlebars. When it comes to buying handlebars, especially for modern BMX guys, one of the things I noticed being an older rider here is that the actual rise and height of the bars has increased quite a bit. Back in the day I used to ride bars around that height. Now these are 7.5s. I usually rode 8.5s, which is only about an inch higher. It's about that much higher. But nowadays, when you buy handlebars, I've noticed that the norm seems to be 9 inches and up. So a lot of pro riders that you see riding are all riding like 9-inch bars, much like these Everlast bars that I bought. These are 9s or 9.25, I can't remember exactly, but they're a little over 9 inches, they're super high quality bars, really well made. One of the reasons I chose them is I looked at a bunch of different handlebars that were out there on the market, tried to decide about angles that I like and back sweep that I like. I usually like handlebars that have not too much of a back sweep and not too much of an upsweep. So these are right around the perfect angle, backwards and upwards for me, if you set them at that normal angle that we usually set our bars at. So I chose a pair of these, and I chose a pair of BSD grind bars, which were slightly different than the Everlast bars, but both of them are built really well. They're both 4130 chromoly. The We the People bars, I believe the difference with these is that they're double butted at the bends, and what that means is basically when you look at a handlebar like this, where they're bent here, down here and up at the top, the chromoly steel that they build them out of, it's butted here in this area, and that basically means that this part of the bar is actually thicker than the rest of the bar, and they do that for strength purposes. So these are both multi-butted and heat treated, and of course heat treated means that when these bars were manufactured, they subjected them again to further exposure to extremely high heat and then cooled them off very quickly in a liquid bath of some type of water or some type of other chemical that cools off the steel very quickly and heat treats them. I can't tell you right now what the chemical might be because I'm not really sure, but the other norm is just to cool them off in very cool water. But I know that there's other means of heat treating handlebars and other parts at the moment too as well too. I'd have to look into that a little bit more because I'm not 100% sure about that. But these bars are actually manufactured that way. The BSD grind bars that I bought too, those are a little bit different. The grind bars that I bought aren't butted anywhere. They're actually just singular gauge tubing, which means the entire tubing all the way around the bar is the same size, but the tubing is slightly larger than normal when the bars are manufactured. So it's not just the butted part here that is oversized, it's the entire bar itself that's oversized. And then of course those BSD grind bars are also heat treated as well too. and they're around the same rise and back sweep as these are, like I was mentioning before. So how do we choose bars like this? Well, you know, generally if you get them from any really good company, it doesn't matter what the company is, most high quality expert or pro level handlebars are built to a certain standard of quality for strength and durability, and they can be quite hard to break, although I know that really professional level riders do break bars or bend bars all the time. But you got to be doing really extreme stuff with them most of the time for that to actually happen. That being said, when you're buying bars, you know, what is the right thing to buy for you? Well, it really comes down to, you know, your riding style, how the bars feel on your bike, how they feel to you. Usually the higher your bars are, the more vertically up you'll be, so when you're doing things like manuals and stuff of that nature, you'll be a little bit further back, and the actual higher rise on the bar might actually aid you in doing manuals because you'll be a little bit more vertical and in a little more comfortable position to actually do things of that nature. I myself have never ridden handlebars this high before, so this is a really new thing for me. I'm just getting used to them now and seeing how this goes. I haven't decided yet whether or not I like these bars or whether or not I might go back to something that's a little bit less high rise than these. I'm not sure at the moment. I think I have to just give myself time to get used to the bars on both of my bikes, and in time I'll probably get accustomed to them, and maybe I'll actually prefer them to when I've been using shorter bars. But there is no right and wrong when you're choosing handlebars as far as heights. It comes down to your height. How do you feel on the bike sitting on it? Does it feel comfortable to you? It's also dependent also on the stem that you have. This is a front-loading stem, so it actually loads pretty low. The actual clamping part of the stem loads the handlebars lower than a top-loading stem would. A top-loading stem, the handlebars would probably sit somewhere around up there. So that would actually make this pair of 7.5-inch bars almost as high as these We the People bars if I had a top-load stem on this bike. So you really have to look at your bike, look at the parts and the components that you have on there, determine what feels comfortable to you. You may, you know, have the instance where you can sit on a friend's bike and notice that, hey, this friend's bike that I'm trying out might feel better than yours is. What are they doing? How is their bike set up that it's different from yours and that it feels better? They may have a top-loading stem as opposed to a front-loading stem like this. They may have higher handlebars. So it really doesn't matter exactly what's going on necessarily with the parts. It comes down to how you feel on the bike. You can get the same result out of a bike like this with handlebars that are 7.5 inches like this by changing to a top-loading stem on this bike. A top-loading stem would make these handlebars at least 1 more inch higher, if not 1.5 inches, which would put these bars right about the same height as these We the People bars if you actually compared the way they would sit. So you got to try a lot of different things on the bike just to determine what's comfortable for you. I also, when I bought these bars, I cut about 1 inch off of either end of these Everlast bars, and I did the same thing with my Grime bars. My Grime bars, I believe I cut 3/4 of an inch off of them because they were wide enough at that point at 3/4 of an inch less, which makes up for a full 1.5 inch difference on both sides of the bars. Because they were actually too wide for me at that point, as they would be for a lot of riders who cut down their bars anyway at the ends. But again, for handlebars and choosing handlebars, there is no right or wrong or real recipe for this. It's how it feels. You could go out there and buy a pair of bars, put them on your bike, and actually not like how they feel at all, and end up changing them for whatever reason, just because they don't feel comfortable to you or whatever, you don't like the look. And of course nowadays too, we can buy BMX handlebars right up to, I think, 11.5 inches in rise, which is quite high. That means your handlebars would be like about that high on this bike. That would be for me way too high because I'm only 5'7". I even find these a little bit high. The last set of bars I rode on my bikes were Ryan Nyquist bars, and they were at 8.5 inches, and I found those to be quite high then, and I've taken a step up here by about another inch using these bars and the Grime bars. So that being said, there is no right and wrong thing as for choosing handlebars. It's a matter of taste. It's a matter of what works for you. Just make sure you buy really good quality bars. Basically, if the bars are double butted or even multi-butted, or the gauge of the actual steel that's in them of the pipe is quite thick and they're chromoly, they're probably going to be pretty strong. And on top of that, if they're heat treated in any manner, they're going to be even stronger. So when it comes to that, you really do pay for what you get. I've seen some handlebars, you know, of this particular style going for around 70, 80 bucks or whatever. We even have a bicycle supply company around here where I live that makes bars that are almost identical to these, and those bars are about 40 bucks when you buy them from the local BMX shop. They're really good quality bars. They're all chromoly. They're a little bit heavy. They're very thick. The tubing gauge is very, very thick on them, so they're very strong. But that's an example of using cheaper no-name handlebars that may still have the same strength as a better pair of bars, but generally when you're buying a better pair of handlebars, which could run, you know, anywhere from $80 to $150 or more, you're getting something that's relatively good quality that's probably going to last you at least a while and be strong enough for you to take or to use during very punishing sessions with your bike. So that's just a discussion I wanted to have with you guys about handlebars. I know you guys out there who are professional riders and expert level riders, you guys probably know this stuff already, but there's probably people who don't know about this stuff and aren't aware, or just weren't aware of exactly what the specifics were about handlebars. If this clarified anything for you guys, that's great. You know, I've personally known this stuff since I was a younger rider, but I just wanted to broach on the topic of this subject of handlebars and what's good and what's not, and what's suitable, and what's you know, what your choice is for your own flavor of riding. So that's it for this particular episode of Retro Rider BMX. I'll catch you guys really soon. I'm going to have some new stuff coming up where I'm going to be doing some custom wheel building, and hopefully you guys will stay tuned for that. I'll see you really soon. Have a great day.